Thank you, you rambunctious little bambinos. JD here. Good to have you on board. We thank you, as always, for taking some of your time to spend it with us here on the program, where intellectual anarchy is encouraged and nurtured for now. Hey, did you guys get an emergency alert system test at 10:40 a.m. this morning?
No.
I was watching DirecTV. I was on Fox News, and I heard that... Not like kind of like a high-tech pigeon sound, you know? So I'm like, whipped my head around, wanted to know what was happening. And there was an emergency alert system test, said this is just a test, but it was from L.A. County Sheriff Lee Baca, and he was talking about how if there was something that was worthy of your attention, that you're supposed to tune into some local programming to find out what it is that's happening in your area and what you need to do. And then it went to a Katy Perry song with lyrics of bikinis on top. I'm not familiar with the tune, can't whistle it myself. But it was on DirecTV at 10:40. Anybody else out there in the listening audience have anything like that happen on their cable provider, or satellite provider, or on your rabbit ears? I just thought it was weird. These emergency alert system things that are just kind of just happening now, just haven't happened before. And I'm not exactly trying to shop that maybe that this is a test of what the test is going to be when the real test comes, when the entire financial system collapses and we're going to see martial law. I'm just saying, if I wanted to let my mind reel, that's one place that it would go. Because here's how bad it's getting out there, folks. Right after that 10:40 emergency alert system, I was starting to pay a little bit more attention to the stuff that I had DVR'd. So I like to always go to the start of the programs to see what it is they're leading with, what it is that is muy importante. So I went to Megyn Kelly, top of the hour, 10 a.m. Pacific, Fox News, and I heard the Fox News alert. Now, typically I tune it out because it's an update on the Michael Jackson doctor or baby Lisa or some broad who's missing because she appeared on some People's Court or something like that. So usually it's not really a Fox News alert that's worthy of your attention. But this one, and when I looked at it, I listened to it, I go, this is kind of odd that we're getting all these tests of the emergency alert system when we get this, an actual Fox News alert worthy of your listening.
Finance officials in Europe are at this moment in the middle of desperate meetings to save the euro. If that currency fails, analysts are predicting now it will send the United States, Asia, and the entire global economy into a, quote, debt-induced financial tsunami.
Oh. Okay. I'm like, and? That's kind of, they brought on Stuart Varney. They talked to him for 30 seconds, and then it was okay, time to go to baby Lisa. And I'm like, wait a minute, did you just say that these are desperate talks that are taking place and that there's going to be an entire meltdown of the global financial system? And I got to get an update on Dr. whatever his name is, Hockensock or whoever, what's his name? Dr. Conrad Murray, that's the guy. Got sentenced to 4 years in prison because the judge thinks he's a threat to society. But I'm like, do you guys want to do a little follow-up on this? I mean, do you guys really kind of want to give us a little bit more information about what's really happening with this desperate situation where the entire United States economy could crater?
Economists now offering this dire warning, saying if the euro crashes, European bank lending could freeze, stock markets would likely crash, and Europe's economies would crater, affecting the United States in more ways than one.
Can we get a little clarification of that? You know, I shoot over to CNBC and they're like, it's raining. You know, they're all happy, joy, because the Dow's up about 60 points at the time. And everybody's like, oh, look, these stocks, this is great. This is happening. Oh, it's all the good things that are happening. I go back over to Fox and I'm like, it's a tale of two worlds. What's going on out there? We got the president of the United States meeting with the head of the EU saying, don't worry, I got your back. The White House comes out, the hoax person there, Jay Carney, and he says, nothing to worry. There's no taxpayer exposure here, or anymore at least. And they're talking about a stock market crash They're talking about the entire financial system coming to a grinding halt, which is what they were talking about back in 2008. And back in 2008, what were they talking about back then? The possibility of martial law. And that was based upon Congress not approving a $700 billion TARP deal. And now we come to find out that the Fed chair, Ben Bernanke, has approved, with the current crook Treasury Secretary Tim Geithner, $7.77 trillion of monies that are going to help to bail out these foreign banking institutions that are so leveraged. It's basically they're at the point where that song that we've talked about on the program, David Gray, What Are We Going to Do When the Money Runs Out, is running out. You can't go back to your parents anymore and say, yeah, I spent my allowance. Okay, here's some more. Well, they're repossessing my car. I'm sorry, I don't have any more money. No, really, they're repossessing my car, and it gets put on the hook and it gets taken away. If I don't pay my rent or my mortgage, I'm not going to have a place to live. But we don't have any money. No, really, you're my parents. You got to have some money somewhere. You had to have saved up for a rainy day. Well, here's the storm clouds of your life. It's called your child coming back and saying, rainy day, I need some do-re-mi. The parents go, sorry, we don't have any more money. But that doesn't seem to be getting the attention of these stu-nods on Capitol Hill. We don't have any more money. Sure, we can push a button and print more money, but even that has a shelf life. Even that gets to a point of no return. Because what's happening now is, as we've been pushing the button and saying, all right, here's $20 more, don't do what you did the last time, okay, fine. All right, here's the money for your car payment, don't do it again, fine. All right, here's the money for your rent, don't do it again, fine. But now the parents are going, no, wait a minute. I have to start to take a look at what I can and can't do realistically. And maybe you, as my child, are not too big to fail, and maybe you have to fail. Now, Tim Geithner, the Treasury Secretary, said about a month ago, I guarantee you there's not one financial institution overseas that's going to fail. I guarantee it. He said you can bet on it. Take that to the bank. Well, I hope the bank wasn't built by the architect Karl Rove, who suffered the biggest political ass kicking for Republicans in 25 years, because that's not a very safe house. Guarantee nothing's going to go wrong. And now all the leaders of the world are getting together. Italy's borrowing rates are up over 7%, which is a precursor to what we saw happen in Greece and in Ireland, which means it's not going well. And now they're saying, okay, where do we go for money? And who do we turn to? Budgetary sovereignty is kind of important, folks. That would be where you, the child, go to the parent and say, help me out. No, we can't. We don't have any more money. But then you decide you're going to go to the Don Corleone of the family and say, okay, I'm turning to you. And you have to go to one of the heads of the families. But the problem is now is that we're seeing nations turn over their sovereignty and their decision-making to technocrats who have an ability to push a button to print money to bail out nations for bad financial behavior. Just as parents continue to bail out bad behavior on the part of their kids. And now countries are to the point where their sovereignty, their budget sovereignty, is being ceded to a central authority that's going to be headquartered in Brussels, where the decisions that were made by the people who choose to vote for the elected officials they want to represent them, or the government that they want to run their country, all of that is being thrown out the window because they all have to turn to a Don Corleone type character, because there's no more money. There's no more games. There's no more lies. There's no more ability to avoid the fiscal reality that's out there. That's what we're bumping up against right now. And we got the President of the United States sitting there meeting with these Euro leaders that's supposedly giving some kind of leadership or guidance as to how it is that they're supposed to get out of the mess that they're in, when he's exactly the same European-style official. He's schooling Barroso, who's basically a guy that was schooling Obama on the softer side of capitalism. Cradle-to-grave government control and government-approved vacations, education, housing, maternity, paternity leave, retirement accounts, retirement benefits, health benefits, all of this being improved by the softer side of capitalism, which is failing overseas, and a president here that embraces those very same policies that are advising them on how to get out of the problems that they're in, which are the problems that we're only getting into further and further and further. Because Congress won't do what it needs to do, which is to stop spending and to become fiscally responsible. The threats of S&P or Fitch or Moody's or anybody downgrading them, they don't care. To them, that's just whatever. It's just like an unemployment number, 9%, 10%, 13%. It doesn't matter to them. Those are just data points. Those are collections of data that they use to assess an electorate in what their political future is. Because they have no connection to reality. They have no connection to what it takes to be fiscally responsible because they have no intention of doing it. But the problem is we're running out of parents. We're running out of parents, and families are ceding their sovereignty to the Don, like the United States and France and Spain and Italy and Greece and Ireland and Iceland and Portugal and maybe soon to be Germany are having to cede their sovereignty, the voice of the people, the will of the people, to someone who's got the money.
The Jerry Doyle Show.
And they're calling it Eurozone fatigue. That's not fatigue. Fatigue is, whew, I mowed the lawn and it's 100 degrees out. I'm a little fatigued. We're talking about the collapse of the entire international banking system. Unless there's somebody out there that can push a button to print funny money to keep the Ponzi scheme going just a little bit longer. 800-876-4123. Stick with me.
The Jerry Doyle Show.